Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of our podcast session. I have a guest with me. His name is Chika Andrew from the UK, right? And just going to be asking some questions. The whole idea basically is to hear from our guests about his experiences, how he's able to how he's using AI to harness different opportunities around product development, and also his interests, so that you, our audience, can also gain one or two things and see how he's leveraging AI in his workflow, all right, and also to increase his productivity, right? So these are the things we're going to be looking at, and we'd love to hear from you. And I believe he's ready to take us through this journey. Here is my guest. His name is Chika Nkwocha once again, right? A quick one, Mr. Chika Nkwocha. A quick one. Give us a brief introduction about yourself.
Okay.
We'd love
Thank you.
to hear from you.
Thank you very much, Shegun, and thank you for inviting me to Crunch Base with the Data Podcast. So it's always nice to talk about products and AI without starting a Jira board, to be honest. So I'm Chika Andrew Nkwocha. I'm a product lead. With MSCLG, I also have my roots in business analysis and change management. So I started my journey in enterprise change, working on RPA project, which at that time felt like a sorcery. We were automating the task process. People's work could only be done manually, like emailing spreadsheets at 4:59 p.m. Right.
Yeah.
So at that time, I didn't realize that I was just in line with documenting change. So I didn't want to just document change only. I wanted to drive it. So I shifted into product management. So with that time, I've been able to work on impactful digital products across industries, from developing intelligent self-serving tools and onboarding systems at core. So one of the leading banking as a service platforms in the EMEA region. So to simplify digital commerce for African entrepreneurs around the world through
Mm.
Taoja, we have helped small businesses to build dream online stores with intuitive AI product models. So beyond building products, I'm passionate about mentoring the next generation of product managers. I teach and coach aspiring product managers through Accelerate and Ascensia, focusing on product strategy, agile delivery and responsible innovation. So for me, product management is it's not just about features and sprints. It's about solving meaningful problems using data smartly, delivering value that sticks. I'm really excited to share some of these insights today.
All right, Chika. I mean, you've said a lot. That was a very good one, right? I would love to know what inspired you to pursue a career in data and product management. Particularly in the realm of AI. Because right now AI is like the new trend, right? And people are trying to see how they can leverage AI, in their workflow, right, to enhance their workflow, and then to also increase their productivity, right? So tell me, what inspired you to pursue a career in data and product management?
Yes, thank you for that, Sheldon. So my dive into AI didn't start with a machine learning course. It started with trying to automate the boring things. When I was working as a business analyst in my previous job roles, then I worked on related RPA project, where robots didn't do repetitive tasks that humans hated. And frankly, it wasn't very good, because after 3 p.m., because the that really sparked my interest in intelligent systems, and over time that grew into product management. So a lot of that curiosity led me into product management. I wanted to go beyond documenting solutions and actually building the products themselves, that solve those real world problems end to end. So since then, I've led products across fintech, e-commerce, and the public sector. So one typical example I will point out is where I worked in Taoja. I worked with a co-founder directly, where I was able to lead the development of platforms
Mm.
designed to simplify digital commerce for Africans across the globe. I also
Right.
led our $104,000 pre-seed funding round. So that has helped us to expand our engineering team and also our user experience metrics as well. And that built our AI powered tools that empowered merchants to personalize and scale their online stores. I've also had the privilege of mentoring other startups, founders and early stage product teams,
Oh,
helping them to create and clarify their product vision, refine their go-to-market strategy, and understand how to build lean but scalable MVPs.
wow, this is interesting. I can see that your curiosity has actually led you to where you are right now. I mean, having to produce all of these achievements, all of these. This is awesome, right? Now, I would love to know, right, in terms of the most significant challenges you have faced, right? Because you have to, I mean, the audience and us, I mean, we have to know that there are certain AI tools that you use, right? You integrate into your workflow to achieve certain goal, right?
Yeah.
Now, in integrating AI tools into the production, right, or what we call product development, what are the challenges? What are the challenges you've come across, or what are the challenges you have faced personally when integrating AI tools into product development? Can you tell me?
Yeah, thank you, Shagun. So one of the biggest challenges I've faced with AI implementation is that AI can't and will never fix your broken processes. It
Mm,
just scales the chaos, to be
wow.
honest. So, and sometimes I've faced a lot of problems with AIs, and that AI can't fix broken processes. And too
Mm,
often, teams rush to implement tools before addressing the foundational issues. When I worked in the previous in the previous public sector, I would say we were implementing a cloud-based Oracle Fusion platform. Everyone
mhm.
was excited about automation until we
Yeah.
realized that our access controls were even messier than a group chat planning a
Wow.
reunion, to be honest. So we had to restructure everything before the AI features could even
Mm,
stretch. And
mm,
also at core where I worked, one of the fintech industry in Nigeria, integrating AI into agency banking and lending automation required a lot of navigating data and
mm,
disparities across regions, different formats, languages, customer behaviors. So without proper data normalization and consent framework, these
yeah.
models were going to be unreliable. So
Mm,
in a nutshell, I would say AI is not magic. It amplifies what you feel is, and if the
mm,
foundation is not solid, the AI will simply scale the next. Long story short, AI is not your fairy godmother. If your data
mm.
is a pumpkin, it's going to stay a pumpkin.
Wow. So what you have said in summary is that there's a need for a proper process, proper foundational stuff to be put in place before you can integrate AI into that.
Yes, yes.
Because if you
You
if
fix
you
the
feed
problem. Yes,
if you feed AI with a messy stuff, it's going to return a messy stuff for you. If you
exactly.
feed AI with a dirty or unprocessed data, you're going to have an unprocessed data.
Yes,
So
that's why it's
it's
good to actually fix the symptoms and not the
yeah,
problem.
yeah. So garbage in, garbage out is is how AI works. So the quality
Correct.
of the data you feed your AI will ensure that you have the best of generative AI. That makes
Correct.
sense.
Correct.
That makes
Yes.
sense. All right. So I also want to know. I mean, you've worked on different projects, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I can see from your experience, you've worked in the fintech company, you've worked in a bank, a traditional banking system in Nigeria, you've worked in a fintech company. I mean, from your experience, so far in the last 3 years, can you share a particular project where you use generative AI, all right, and it's made a pivotal difference in the outcome? Do you understand? What are the key takeaways? I mean, in using generative AI to make a pivotal difference in the outcome of your project? Can you tell me?
Yeah, so one of the most typical example I'll give to this question is when I worked as a product lead in Tauja, because Tauja is all about building digital commerce for Africans. So
Okay.
at Tauja, we wanted small business owners to build dream e-commerce experience, right? Without
Mm,
needing to code or call their cousin who knows websites, right? So our goal was to help small business owners to build
mm,
those dream e-commerce, without the needed to call a code or hire a developer. So
mm,
we use generative AI to automate like product descriptions, personalized marketing copy, and dynamic FAQs, that's frequent asked questions. And the difference was huge. Sellers could build on board faster, customers had more relevant information, and the engagement metrics really jumped. So the fun part was watching this AI
interesting.
generate descriptions for things
Mm,
like Ankara bags or Afrobeat vinyls, like it had
mm,
lived in Lagos, right? So
mm,
what made it work was our tight feedback loops. We constantly monitored how users responded to generated content and
mm,
fine-tuned the models accordingly. Because the key takeaways here is generative AI is most powerful when it's visible to the user, but
mm,
quite impactful to the experience of the user itself.
mm. Wow, that's like the key takeaway for me. So it's most impactful based on the content generated by the users, and then you are able to use those content to fine tune your own model so that they can have a better experience, right?
Correct,
That make a
yes,
lot of sense. That make a lot of sense.
correct, yeah,
Okay. So now I want to go into data analytics, right? I mean, as a product developer or a product analyst, you must have engaged in data analysis at one point in time to be able to drive or optimize your business processes, right? And then you can have an improved product performance.
yeah.
Now, I want to know how have you leveraged data analytics to influence product strategy? Yeah, product strategy and decision making processes. So I want to know, just give me a breakdown.
Okay, so data is the heartbeat of any solid product, and maybe sometimes CPR too, to be honest. So
Mm,
data is like the heartbeat of product strategy, and I've seen that consistently. Whether I've worked in a place in fintech solutions, whether I've tracked risk as well in a public sector organization. So
mm,
I'll give a typical example where I worked in core, which was a fintech. We were scaling our digital self-service channel. We used behavioral analytics to understand where users were dropping off, what features they were not using, or how different the market was responding to the changes we were making to our application. That
wow.
directly informed our
Mm,
roadmap prioritization or
mm,
iteration cadence in general.
mm,
And also in one of the public sector I'm currently working now in the UK, I've also led the enhancement of a delivery and risk management tool which tracks performance across various government projects. So we
mm,
use quantitative risk and qualitative user feedback to
mm.
align the tool with our departmental and organizational strategic needs. So that's what made it stick. So it's not just about what data can do for you, but it's about the story that the
Interesting.
data holds for
Mm,
you, right?
mm.
So one of the few lessons I've learned is numbers are really great, but those stories with numbers are the perfect game changer.
Wow,
Yes.
that sounds so interesting. Numbers can be really great. Wow, and those two, how did you put it now?
Yeah, numbers are really great, but those stories with numbers are the main game changer itself.
Are the main game changer. Wow,
Yeah.
that sounds so great. I love that. I love that. You know, now I can see that you've been able to leverage data analytics, and then I mean from what you've said, having to understand the your customer behavior, right? And then how they use your content, how they use your products, and then the feedbacks, analyzing it, knowing where to improve. on the side of your product development and all of that. That makes a lot of sense. And now, in terms of the future of AI in product management, right? Where do you see the future of AI heading heading in product management, right, over the next few years? So what I'm trying to say is that, how do you see AI, right? How do you see AI heading in product management in the next few years? What role or what impact will AI have in product management? I don't know if you have conceived that before, but let me hear your perspective on that.
Yeah, so future of AI in product management has been a buzzing word in the product community, to be honest. The future of AI is about intelligent support at every stage. So think of it like a Google Docs for your brain, right?
Mm,
So it's not just about automating tasks or building or guiding strategy, right? But it's all about guiding the strategy itself. So I imagine product managers in the future will begin to work with a lot of AI tools that analyze user sentiments. Don't get me wrong, because currently PMs are currently working with AI tools to help them
mm,
with their product management responsibilities and activities in their various workplace. But
yeah.
to analyze user sentiment in real time,
Mm,
right? So recommend backlog refinements, also um, simulate user flows as well based on test data.
mm,
So in core where I worked, which was a fintech solution, like I always said, we already took a lot of steps in that direction using machine learning to recommend
mm,
behaviors based on customer behavior and also influence lending model thresholds with real-time
mm,
data. So, but the real evolution will come from AI augmenting those product intuition, help us to make those smarter bets, faster while keeping user experience front and center. So the goal isn't to replace product managers for the future
mm.
of AI, but it's to make us look even more magical than we already pretend to be honest.
Oh, wow, wow. That sounds so good. That sounds so good. Now, I mean, you've been saying so many things as regarding how you've implemented AI in your workflow to achieve your KPIs, your product development, and the likes, right? Now, I want to talk about collaboration. I mean, in terms of collaboration, I don't know if you've worked across different teams or you've worked with teams when it comes to AI-driven product, right? So what I'm trying to say is that, to you, how important is cross-functional collaboration when working on AI-driven products, right? And what strategies do you use to foster this collaboration, right? I mean, it's not just you. If you're working
Yeah.
in a company, there's a need for team collaboration, and not just team collaboration. You have to work across different teams. So what that means, you have to work with different people, right? As a product AI developer, right?
Yeah.
Now, how do you achieve all of this? What are the strategies?
So I'm an African and in Nigeria, to be specific. And the reason I say this is because I want to use a particular analogy.
All
So
right.
building AI products without cross-functional collaboration is like you trying to cook jollof rice without tasting it.
Wow.
It's really bold for you and it's potentially
I love that.
catastrophic, to be honest, right?
Mm,
So in my previous organization, we couldn't launch anything meaningful without bringing in a lot of people, like the likes of data scientists, compliance officers, product
mm,
designers, and
mm.
developers right from the ideation phase. So the ideation phase is at the start when you're trying to implement a product
Yeah.
around life cycle. So
Mm,
the same thing also held in my previous role in public sector, right? Where we're trying to onboard a lot of government products to our services. So we had to co-design a lot of workflows with finance team, procurement, IT teams, not just hand over a product, right? That
mm,
collaborative DNA is what made the solution sustainable. So
mm,
my strategy is really simple. Build your shared context early from the start off. Run those your discovery workshop with everyone at the table from the start off, and
mm,
use tools like Mural, Miro, just to keep that ideas flowing, visually and collaboratively. So when people look at this problem, they can own it because they are with you from the start, right? And they can
Yeah.
now invest more in that solution.
Oh, nice, nice. I mean, like you said, you couldn't launch any product without the collaboration or the input of all the cross-functional teams. The data scientists, the products leader, the compliance analyst, the
Right.
data governance analyst, and the likes. All
Yeah.
right, that makes sense. And this actually will lead me to ethical considerations. All right, yeah,
Okay.
because you mentioned about compliance personnel, data governance analysts. Now, these are people that should be positioned in every company because I mean your product is going out to the market, right? The question is, will your product be harmful to the people out there, or will it enhance inclusiveness, right? Or will it help mitigate bias in the world, right, or in the community or in the environment where that product is launched, right? I mean, so I'm more of I mean, for me personally, um, data governance and ethical concerns is one of my own priority. Yes.
Yeah.
So I want to ask, what ethical considerations do you think are crucial when developing AI products, right? And how do you address them in your project? So can you tell me something around that?
Yeah. Thanks, Shagun. So building ethical AI or creating ethical considerations is more or less like someone trying to brush their teeth, right? It's not one of the most really good things to do or cool things to do, but it's quite essential. So when building AI products, I focus on three things: fairness, transparency, and control.
Mm, yeah.
So in my for example, I'd say we made sure in my previous role working as a product lead in one of the fintechs in Nigeria back home, then we made sure our credit and onboarding models didn't unintentionally bias against users from certain regions.
Mm,
That meant we are actively reviewing data samples and involving diverse user personas during our testing. And also
yeah.
at Taoja, where I worked as well, we gave sellers
Mm,
and buyers clear opt-in controls, over
mm,
how their data was being used, even something as small as explaining how their behavior influenced recommendations, right?
wow.
So for me, ethical AI isn't about perfection. It's about building accountability,
Yeah.
that feedback loops into
Yeah.
your products from day one. So they need
Mm,
to know how you are working with their data,
yeah.
how the merchants are also working, and know that it's not here about plotting against their shopping carts or whatever.
Nice. Nice. I love that. I mean, um, responsible use of AI is very, very
Correct.
important, right? And
Correct.
then
Yeah.
because as we integrate AI into product development, um, there's a need for us to ensure transparency, like you said, trustworthiness, fairness, and data privacy, right? I mean, all of these has to be put in place so that the people can be rest assured that you have their best interest, at heart when producing any
Correct.
product. Yeah, so
Correct.
that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. So now, in terms of skill development, right? I mean, people are building different skills around AI right now. I mean, and a lot of different skills are coming up, right? Especially in the next coming years, maybe 2 3 years now. I
Yeah.
mean, you're going to be seeing different skills, different um, job titles, different job operations and the likes. So I want to ask you, um, what skill, what skills do you believe are essential for aspiring product managers in the AI space. So, what skills do you believe are essential? We have a lot of them right now, but what are the essential skills basically that you can say, oh, pick up these skills for
Yeah.
someone who is, aspiring to become a product manager in the AI space, particularly?
Yeah, yeah. Thanks. So if you want to thrive as a product manager in the AI space, just focus on three core skills. I mean, I tell my students and startup mentees, you don't need to code, but you should know how to ask the smart questions. So you don't get roasted on GitHub, to be honest. So I tell them the first thing is data fluency, right? Not
Mm,
just coding, but understand how those models works, what
yeah.
biases looks like, and how to ask the right questions.
Mm,
The second thing is around systems thinking. AI features often connect multiple systems.
mm,
Understanding dependencies and the flow is essential. The third one for me is storytelling. AI doesn't speak human by default. You
mm,
need to bridge that gap and help your stakeholders understand what it does and why it matters and how
mm,
that will drive value to whatever product you're building now and in the future. Most of all, just be adaptable. AI tools are evolving every
mm.
second by the day in the whole world.
Yeah.
Your mindset matters more than your tech stack, to be honest.
Well, so in summary, I mean, can you just give me a summary of these skills like
Yeah, so it's
data
summary,
storytelling?
just have your data storytelling, your
Mm,
systems thinking, and your data fluency. You don't need to code, but just have a little bit of foundational and intermediate knowledge in data
oh,
management. Yeah.
nice, nice. That makes a lot of sense. All right, so you guys have taken note of that. So if you aspire to be a product person in the AI space, so focus on those three things you has mentioned, right? Data storytelling. Which one again did you mention?
Data storytelling, systems thinking,
System
and
thinking,
yes, and also data fluency.
data fluency. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. All right. So I'm going to end with this last question, right?
Yeah.
Um, so I would love to hear from you. What advice will you give to someone who is looking to break into the field of AI and product management? So can you, if you have to give an advice, what advice are you going to give?
Yeah. So I would say um, my advice is to get into the problem space first.
Mm,
Stop waiting to feel you're ready. Your first product might be very, very ugly. Your
mm,
first AI experiment might break. That's just the point, and it's a natural point.
mm,
Start with a real world challenge you care about and figure out how AI might help you. So, in my previous organization where I worked as
mm.
a product lead volunteer with Saudia,
Yeah.
we were not trying to do AI. We were trying to
Mm,
help African entrepreneurs to build and scale their online stores.
makes
AI
sense.
became a tool, not a goal for us.
Mm,
Also, find a project or a startup where you can learn by doing, whether it's contributing to an open source, volunteering for a team like I did, or
mm,
just building something small. The learning curve is fastest when you're trying to solve a real life
mm.
problem. And
Yeah.
don't wait until you feel ready. Like I said, the AI product space needs a lot of curiosity, practical thinkers who can build that bridge between technology and the human needs.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. That's amazing. So, um, just jump into the problem, right, and start solving problems. You know, of
Correct.
course, your curiosity is very important, and then as you walk through that path, you'll discover a lot of things that you need to improve on. So that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense. Yeah. So I think we have come to the end of this podcast session. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate you for accepting our invite to join us on Crunch Brunch with Data podcast. We appreciate you. Um, my name is Shagu Moru. So I'm the host, and our guest is Chika Andrew again. All right, who is based in the United Kingdom. It's good to have you, Chika. So
Thank you,
nice.
Sheldon. Thank you,
Yeah.
Sheldon.
So
Thank you for inviting me.
until next time, to our viewers and audience, keep your insight fresh and your data crunchy. All right. Cheers. Cheers to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.